today's agenda, we'll have a quick introduction about, um, um, you know, uh, about yourself, and we'll have the course content. What you're going to be cover for today's session, and what is planned for further in the course. Whatever the content that are going to be covered in the course. Okay, and yeah, we'll have a quick background and how Salesforce actually began, and where exactly it is in the industry, and how Salesforce, how huge it is, you know the opportunities in the market, and how huge it is. We'll have a quick glimpse of that in upcoming slides. Okay, introduction about the cloud and the CRM. So we'll see how what is exactly CRM, and how it is linked to cloud, and what is cloud and how it works. We'll have a quick introduction about that. And yes, these are the modules. I believe you already might have got the content from HKR Trainings. So these are the different modules that we are going to cover, like Salesforce, what is Salesforce overview, and like how do we create a company profile within Salesforce, and what is exactly company profile within Salesforce. And then we'll cover what is Salesforce. I mean, how do we customize and structure Salesforce, right? So that's one of the major advantages of Salesforce, and many other CRMs don't have. So where you can customize as per your needs, right? So say client would come up with new requirements, or might have, every different company has different requirements, right? So they want to customize their Salesforce according to their needs, and they would like to modulize it in a different way. I mean, as per their needs, right? So we're gonna see how we can do that customization and do the data modeling or structuring of that. Okay. And yeah, exploring about relationships within Salesforce. So there are different kinds of objects, in the sense there are different kinds of modules within Salesforce, and we'll see how they're actually related, and what's the relationships between those different modules within Salesforce. And see, we'll see about this security part. And yes, security is one of the you might be knowing already, like it's one of the crucial thing to be within Salesforce, right? Or within any software. Right? So giving security to the data that they store within the Salesforce, uh, that's one of the critical part, and we're gonna see how we can provide security within Salesforce to different people, different profiles, and different users within Salesforce. And the next one would be working with workflows, reports, and analytics. So yeah, workflows. When they say workflows, in Salesforce, basically, they have certain automation tools which they can use it for, sending automated emails, or making automated process within Salesforce, so that the manual entry of data would reduce, and the visibility of the data would increase. Right. So that's the reason for the reporting and analytics purpose. And we'll see how we can create reports, and how we can analyze, and how do we create workflows, and how it can be useful for in automating stuff in Salesforce. Okay. And yes, next we'll be starting with Salesforce development. Basically, that's the programming side of Salesforce, right? So Salesforce, as we know, we can customize, right? So we can customize. I mean, we have certain tools within Salesforce, like workflows, process builders, and flows and stuff like that. Apart from that, we have this programming side where we can go to that extent where we can develop our own UI, and also have some customized logics written in within Salesforce. So we'll see what are the different tools or programmings available in within Salesforce development. And yes, the next one would be creation of Visual Force pages. So although Visual Force pages are in these days, the usability of the Visual Force pages are getting reduced, but still, knowing about Visual Force pages will give you insights how Salesforce started with their UI, and how they're moving towards. Uh, there's a new UI that is getting developed that is Lightning Experience. I mean, it's already in market, but yeah, we'll see how we can create, Visual Force pages as part of the UI development. Okay. And guys, let me know if I'm going in a fast pace. You can stop me anywhere and ask me. Okay, if you have any kind of doubts, definitely you can stop me over there and ask me any kind of doubts over there. Okay, so coming to the next module, yes, Visual Force framework. So we'll see how the Visual Force framework is developed within Salesforce and how it can be used to develop customized UI within Salesforce. Okay, and yep, Apex overview. So Apex is nothing but Java. So its core is actually Java, but Salesforce has its own syntax. It's almost same as Java, and it's actually Java itself, but they have more simplified way of Java, where you don't have to write too much of complex code. They have certain default functions or methods written in within Salesforce, which you can use it and you can develop your own logics and stuff like that. Okay, and working with Apex and data, how you can pull the data within, from the backend database of Salesforce, and how you can use it for the, logical programming of Apex. Okay, we'll see about that. And DML operations. I guess if you're from a technical background, you might be knowing what is exactly like DML operation. I mean, if you don't know also, we will be going through that from the basics. What exactly is DML operations, and how DML operations can be used within Salesforce to do the operations like insert, update, delete, or undelete and stuff like that, right? So how the modifications can be done within Salesforce database. So that what we'll see in that module. So yeah, the next module is Salesforce Apex triggers. Okay. Maybe if somebody has worked in database, they might be knowing this term called triggers, right? So triggers are generally used in database to write certain logics, to update, or to insert or do some modifications or certain validations within Salesforce. I mean, within any database for that matter. For having the consistency in data and having accurate data within the database. So even the same thing here also in Salesforce, where Apex triggers will be used for validations or doing certain modification within Salesforce databases. Okay, and we'll see how to write test classes. Salesforce has certain standard what do you say for that? Basically, standard functionalities where if you can write your own test classes and you can validate the code that you have written in Apex. Okay, so test classes will be used for checking the code coverage, how much code consistency you have within the Salesforce. I mean, within Salesforce, whatever Apex code that you have written, you will just verify how that how much code coverage or how much consistency is the code up to the Salesforce database. So yeah, as I said, like Salesforce Lightning Experience. The next module is about Lightning Experience. That's the new Salesforce UI that's available. So you'll see how we can use that new UI and how Salesforce is actually upgrading its UI within Salesforce Lightning Experience. That's the upgraded version of Salesforce UI. So what are the different functionalities available in that, and how that's useful, and why companies are moving to that newer version. We'll see how to use that actually. Okay, and yeah, conclusion. And yeah, in this course, we'll definitely have a lot of practice tests, and we'll give support for. I mean, I have taken the Salesforce admin certification, and I'm a certified admin. And yep, so we'll be giving the interview questions, since I've been in the Salesforce industry, and I know what exactly the kind of questions they're gonna ask. So definitely I'll be helping out. What are the interview questions that will be asked, and how to take Salesforce admin certificate, and what are the modules that you want to cover within Salesforce, so that you will be, you know, you'll be ready for the certification and also for the jobs. Okay. Yep. We'll have mock interviews sessions, and definitely, yes, as I said, job support will be definitely given. Job support in the sense, yes, I believe Anusha might have explained that there'll be certain companies that would be provided for interviews and stuff like that. So yes, that's about the Salesforce content, whatever the course that we are going to cover in this module. Hope that was clear. I mean, yes, we'll be in detail. We'll be going through each of the modules in the next sessions. But for now, yes, that's the course content that we're going to cover. Okay. So yeah, before learning anything, I mean, any software or anything new for that matter, it's always good to know the history and the beginning of that particular domain of the software. Okay. So Salesforce actually was started in the year 1999 in San Francisco, in United States. So it was started by Mark Benioff. He's currently the CEO of Salesforce. So it was this is a small picture of Salesforce getting started in small apartment. They actually bought an apartment, and they actually started with 3 people. One, yeah, that's Mark Benioff, who is currently the CEO. Sorry, and Parker Harris, Dave Molinoff, and Frank Domin- Dominguez. Okay, so Salesforce is basically a software as a service. Okay, so few people might have heard SaaS applications within the industry, right? If they have worked in industries, technical side of this, they might have heard of this terms called iPaaS, which is nothing but like integration platform as a service and software as a service, and there are a lot of other terms that are being used in Salesforce. So I mean within industry. So Salesforce is basically a software as a service, which means that it's basically a web-based software. So which provides the software functionalities for the users, right? So Mark Benioff, let me talk about a little bit more about how exactly Mark Benioff started. So Mark Benioff was working in Oracle company, right? So he was working as an executive, and he was working with Oracle CEO Larry Ellison as an executive, and he saw certain opportunities or the drawbacks within Oracle. So I guess, yeah, one of participants, I guess Poonam or Sachin mentioned that they're working in Siebel, right? Siebel is a software developed by Oracle. Okay, and yes, Mark Benioff was working with Oracle, and he was seeing the opportunities that are ahead of Oracle and apart from Oracle, and what are the drawbacks of Oracle Siebel. He started this software. I mean, Salesforce. He thought of, okay, these are the drawbacks of Siebel, and how are we gonna overcome these drawbacks. So I'll talk about what are the drawbacks exactly Siebel had. So Siebel was actually a server based, which means that Siebel, if you want to use Siebel, then let's say if you're working for a company and the company is using Siebel, so they had to maintain certain servers within the company, and they had to install the software within the server and then use it. Okay, so let's say if there are 1,000 companies, then each company has to own their own servers, and they had to install their that product or the Siebel product in the server and then use it. So it was a tedious job. Like if they, let's say for example, every year, and in today's world, right? Let's consider Android mobile. right? So you have every year they release a new version of Android. So how they're getting how we are getting update, like we can just download via internet and we can just install it, the latest upgraded Android version in our mobile, right? So similarly, if there is any kind of upgrade, then Siebel has to go to each company, each let's say 1,000 companies are using, and they have to, then they were sending the updated file, I mean going to each company, and they were installing that file, the updated version. So it was a really tedious task, and maintaining servers, there were a lot of people needed to maintain those servers and all. And if you want to access from a different location, then if you don't have, if you don't have the server and the installed Siebel software in it, then you'll not be able to use it. So there were a lot of other drawbacks as well. So because of that, Salesforce came into picture, and Salesforce actually provides, the main advantage of Salesforce is you can access it from anywhere, right? So you can sit in United States or in Europe or in Asia, and you can access the same set of data uh, with your account. I mean, you just need internet, and you can access it from anywhere in the world, right? So that's one of the major uh, advantages of Salesforce. That's the reason it's one of the top top cloud providing companies in the world, actually, right? So this quick, just a beginning of how Salesforce was started. So okay, moving on to the next slide. So in 2000, yes, the product actually was launched, and this is a small UI that you can see. So this is how it was, a very basic UI with not much more functionalities. Only you'll see this home tab in it, and accounts, contacts, opportunities. Only these many tabs were there, and these tabs even today exist. But you'll see how that has been enhanced, and how the UI is totally changed. We'll see that shortly. But yeah, this is how it actually, Salesforce actually started. And yes, this was the event in 2000, how they started. So if you see the small icon, this was the, I mean, they're saying that end of software, but still they say that they're giving software as a service. But the thing is, yes, the main agenda was for them, it the software, what Siebel was giving, uh, the kind of drawbacks that it had. So they told, like, okay, we'll not be giving um, that kind of service. But yes, that's the end of the era. Like, you have to um, struggle for maintaining the servers and installing the updates, or even doing the automation within Salesforce. Siebel basically was very tough. So that's the main agenda for them, providing the cloud-based infrastructure and seeing it as end of software um, kind of thing. So it's a kind of web-based interaction. So it's it is saying that it's kind of end of uh, inbuilt applications, or applications that you have to install within your local machine and use it. Okay, you don't have to just need a browser and an internet connection. You can use it from anywhere else. So that's the main agenda that they're trying to tell. Okay, so this is one of the events that happens in Salesforce. That's called Dreamforce. Okay, that's a big one of the biggest events in the IT industry, I would say. So it was started in 2003. Even now, it's going on right now. It's going on. If you guys have time, I would definitely recommend. You can, if you go to Salesforce website, you'll find the Dreamforce link. Yeah, at the end of the session, even I'll provide you with that link. But yeah, so these events will basically tell what has happened in the last years, and what the enhancements has been done within Salesforce, and what are the features that is going to add within Salesforce, and what are the different apps that you can connect for Salesforce for the interaction. Okay. So this event would give introduction and also a wide variety of companies would interact and see how they're actually using it, and it will be very useful for you guys to understand what's currently happening within Salesforce. So yes, in 2005 they launched this portal called App Exchange. Okay, so this is a App Exchange is a portal where you can find apps related to Salesforce. So what do you mean by that? So I'll give an example. So you have an Android phone, and if you want to install an app within Android phone, right? Where you would generally go? So you would go to the App Store and you would search for the app, and you would click on the install button and install it, right? And use it for yourself. So the same way, within Salesforce, if you want some app, um, you know, which enhances your functionalities, then you can go to the App Store, you can download that app and install it within Salesforce. Okay, so one example that I would like to give here in Salesforce, which I used personally, it's called DocuSign. So that particular app within Salesforce will provide you the functionality of document signature, right? So you sit in your home and you can send your clients a document, and for some product, okay, maybe the client might have taken some product and they want to sign some certain kind of agreement within the product. So they can use a DocuSign app, and they can actually you know use that application within Salesforce and sign the documents and send it back to Salesforce. So that's how we can use that app. So similarly, there are like thousands and hundreds of Salesforce applications within the App Exchange that you can use it. Similar to App Store, and even in iPhone, you have, I think, similar kind of app stores. Okay. Yep. Since September, Salesforce introduces App Exchange, third-party developers. So that's how the Salesforce ecosystem is very huge. Within that Salesforce ecosystem, there are a lot of other functionalities that you can add. Okay. So by the end of this year, the company, so in 2005, so the nearly 20,500 companies worldwide were using Salesforce. So just an quick analogy on that. So around 20,000 companies, similar to SAP, right? So they use Salesforce. So exactly, I'll tell where exactly is why exactly Salesforce is being used. I mean, so they want to store certain customer data. So when I say customer data, the details of the customer, like for example, like I'm currently working for the company Brillo, right? So Brillo is having certain clients, like they have Confluent, they have Google, and they have many other companies. Okay, they want to store when they actually got the client, and what are the products that they are using, and what are the services they are using within our company, and what are the subscriptions, or how they're actually leveraging our products in that way. So even, for example, even in today's world, I would like to give, like, for example, if Facebook uses Salesforce, Google uses Salesforce for the sales tracking purpose. Okay, within Google, they'll have huge clients. I mean, Google will be having other clients which they'll be using. So they track those customer data within Salesforce. Okay, so almost all companies today in the world, major companies will definitely are using Salesforce. Okay, we'll see how. I mean, in the next slides, we'll talk about more about that, and in the coming days as well, we'll be talking about that. So development of Apex, Visualforce, and beyond. In 2006, yes, that's where when Apex and Visualforce page, and the different customizations that can be done within Salesforce was released. So before that, Salesforce was just a web-based application that can be used for to store the customer data. But after that, they started, releasing these kind of uh, customizations that can be done within Salesforce. So Apex, as I said, it's a Java-based programming language. So that's on the Salesforce platform. That's that we can be used for customizing Salesforce. Okay, so yeah, Salesforce, if you know that word, it actually, the word sales means it is used basically in sales processes, like for selling the product. It might be a software product or a hardware product, right? They can track within Salesforce. They can track which client took it and what they took, and what is the time period they'll be using it, and what is if it's a software product, then there might be certain subscription. Like for 1 year you can use it. Like for example, in Netflix, you'll take a subscription, right? So that like for 1 year, you might take it for 1 year or 3 months or 6 months or maybe 2 years. So all the data related to that customer will be stored within Salesforce. And yes, Salesforce released a different cloud called Marketing Cloud. So in today, they have more than like 8 to 10 clouds. And here Marketing Cloud in 2012 they released, and basically used for marketing purpose, like to create campaigns and to do all the different kinds of marketing stuff within Salesforce, right? So this Marketing Cloud was used for that purpose. Okay. And yes, even today, there are a lot of opportunities within Salesforce for the Marketing Cloud. If you're a Marketing Cloud developer, you can, generally you'll be working on this particular cloud. Yes, Salesforce subsidiaries and acquisitions. So if you heard of these companies like Cube, Heroku, MuleSoft, or Tableau, or stuff like Slack, so these were not part of Salesforce, but they acquired it, and they are now part of Salesforce. Okay, so Cube is, I think, is a platform for which enhances Salesforce functionalities, like maybe some workflows, automations, and stuff like that. And Heroku is kind of storage platform, and or a computing platform that is within Salesforce, where you can store a huge files or huge clump of data. Similar to Google Drive, Google has Google Drive. Similar to Salesforce, Heroku is kind of a drive for Salesforce. Okay, that can store huge files. Okay, and MuleSoft is basically a third-party integration platform, which integrates between other applications and Salesforce. Okay, MuleSoft basically interacts between the websites that customer has and how it will fetch the data and push it to Salesforce, or it might be linking to another ERP like SAP. We have SAP, right? So certain companies use both Salesforce and SAP. So in that case, they would integrate SAP and Salesforce using MuleSoft. So MuleSoft is a middleware which connects Salesforce and other applications. Okay, and coming to Tableau. Tableau is basically analytics platform, or a reporting and analytics platform. So that was acquired by Salesforce. So they generally do all the data analytics of whatever the data that has been stored within Salesforce. They would project it in more easier manner, and more visible visualizations will be done. Dashboards will be created, and it will be more interactive way. So that would be more easy to understand, and salespeople can track more data in it. So that's the use of Tableau. And yeah, similarly, Acumen and Slack. Slack is basically a messaging platform. Like we have Skype, right? Microsoft has Skype. So similar to that, in Salesforce, Slack is messaging platform in it. So yes, he is the CEO of Salesforce, Mark Benoff, and he's been, you know, uh, he's been one of the top CEOs in the world, who's been, you know, named as number one in the for many years in the recent years actually. So yeah, Salesforce is currently the number one CRM. So as I said, like in 2005, around 20,000 companies were using Salesforce, but today it's almost, the customer base is around more than like 150,000. I think it's close to 2 lakh, I believe. Now, when I heard in the previous sessions of Dreamforce, it was more than like 150,000 or 160,000. So almost all the companies, major companies in the world, which are there, will be in one or the other way, they'll be using Salesforce for their customer data. Right? Every company has to store data. Data is today's, kind of fuel, which they can use it for, projection, analyzing, and also, portraying companies' visibility to the world. So yes, Salesforce, the opportunities within Salesforce is really huge. And Salesforce today, yes, it's over 25 billion in revenue, and its a trajectory is more than like 1.6. The assets or the whatever the projections that has been done for 2024 or 2025, it's around more than $1 trillion. So yes, around 9.3 million jobs within Salesforce ecosystems currently, and there are new jobs that are getting created within Salesforce ecosystem. So yeah, that's the Salesforce, background, how it came and how it is actually today. Yes, that's for today's session. Hopefully it was informative and a useful session. You got a basic insights of Salesforce and what we're gonna cover up in the course in the coming days.